In this video, we will cover information on Roman numeral II, the coup d'etat. This is part of our chapter on Napoleon Bonaparte in Global Insights. So when you're taking notes to start Roman numeral II, please use this typed outline as your guide. First, you need to know what this French term coup d'etat means. It means an overthrow of the government. I mean, if you're going to be technical, it's a blow to the state is the literal translation of coup d'etat. So when you translate blow to the state, what does that really mean? It means overthrow the government. Someone is trying to take over the government. So how did we get to this point in France with people wanting to overthrow the government? Well, if you look at your number one, it says by 1799, the French people lost confidence in the Directory. So remember, the Directory was made up of 5 men with executive positions, and not everybody is happy with that type of government. The Directory has proven to be weak. The economy is not getting any better in France under this new government, and there is political instability. So make sure you add those details about why people have lost confidence in the Directory. So, with the economy not doing well, there's also out of control crime. There's a lot of crime on the rise as well. And then political instability. So on number 2, with the Directory unable to solve France's problems. If y'all remember, the man who wrote the pamphlet titled, "What is the Third Estate?" the priest, Abbé Sieyès, will urge Napoleon to seize power. He thinks this is the right time with the Directory not being very popular with the people and not doing a very good job solving a lot of the French problems. Perfect opportunity for Napoleon to help restore some type of organization. So on November 9th, 1799, Napoleon carried out a coup d'etat. We just talked about what that means, with the help of Abbé Sieyès, Napoleon's brother Lucien, and if you remember, the French foreign minister during the French Revolution, Talleyrand. So these 3 individuals will help Napoleon stage a coup d'etat, which means they are all working together to overthrow the Directory. We see that it was a success because this coup d'etat was quick, it was bloodless, no one was killed, and now Napoleon will have some power. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Should be on number 4 by now. It says Napoleon's new government is called the Consulate, and it will replace the Directory. So what do we know about the Consulate on number 5? There are 3 consuls. Napoleon gets the title of first consul, and then there are 2 others who will work with him that get the titles second and third consul. So we all know that in name only, it looks like the consulate will be working, together, these 3 individuals. But in actuality, Napoleon's got most of the power in this government. Also at this time, word gets to that coalition of countries. Actually, let me back up for a minute. Remember the coalition heaps: Holland, England, Austria, Prussia, heaps. Napoleon had defeated that group. Okay, they just, that was never really, discussed. But I do want to make sure that y'all know that coalition that had formed during the French Revolution, and once the Directory gives Napoleon commander of the French army, he does some reorganization and he is able to defeat that coalition. Well, now that the Directory has just been overthrown by Napoleon and a few others, A new coalition will form. It's the same year, 1799, to fight Napoleon. This new coalition is Britain, Austria, and Russia. So the fun little acronym you can use to help remember these three countries, BAR. Now, little do they know that when they are fighting Napoleon, that Napoleon ultimately has as a goal in the back of his mind to conquer Europe. For now, these three countries just see Napoleon as a threat because all three of these countries believe that France would do a much better job if they were back under a king's control. And they don't, they're worried about what Napoleon may be doing in France that could ultimately threaten them. So BAR, Britain, Austria, and Russia have formed this coalition to try and put a stop to Napoleon and basically get him out of power so they can restore a king in his place. Within 2 years of Napoleon taking power in France, he had to deal with a slave rebellion that was in one of the Caribbean islands, which was Haiti. So Napoleon, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Haiti. Haiti was a French-owned island. And remember, when we talked about exploration, this is around the time that France gained control over Haiti, and they were using Haiti to grow sugar. Because you have a lot of land, you have the perfect climate in Haiti to grow a lot of sugar. So the French were making a lot of money off of the sugar resources from their colony in Haiti. Well, all that sugar required workers, and the French had slaves on those plantations to grow and harvest the sugar. Well, in 1801, there is going to be a slave rebellion on that island of Haiti. And leading that slave revolt was an ex-slave himself, Toussaint L'Ouverture. This is a picture of him right here. So unfortunately for these slaves, the revolt will be crushed by France. Napoleon's army will be sent in to crush this revolt. L'Ouverture, the leader of the slave rebellion, will be captured, brought to France, where he will later die in prison. We also know that many of the French soldiers did not make it back to France alive because they died not from your typical battle wounds, but from disease that they had not been exposed to. Specifically, malaria was very common in the tropical environment of Haiti. Well, by the year 1802, Napoleon realizes that France is still not in the best domestic situation. So he needs to stop fighting with these foreign countries to focus more on fixing the problems that are within France. So he and Great Britain, which of course is one of the countries in that coalition BAR, will sign the Treaty of Amiens. And what this treaty does is, for now, create peace between France and Great Britain. And of course, the other two countries, Austria and Russia, will stop fighting as well. So this allows, just like I mentioned, for Napoleon to concentrate more on fixing the problems in France instead of having to deal with fighting foreign countries. So now we're moving to this next part of our typed outline to finish up the information on Roman numeral 2 for Napoleon, okay? So we're about to go over some of the specific problems France was having and how Napoleon will be able to help solve or fix some of these specific problems. One of the first things Napoleon did was create lycées. So this is your little A under number 9. Lycées are government-supported schools with the purpose of making government leaders more educated. So the purpose of the schools is to make educated government leaders, because Napoleon knew that he needed people to be obedient and love their country. So that is what these lycées intended to do, and they were government supported. Next, on your little b, Napoleon paid off the French debt by fixing the tax system. So what that means is more people will have to start paying taxes in France. Your little c, jobs will be filled based on skill or merit. And you remember, we talked about this, being a big change for the French Revolution. And Napoleon is going to take the successes of the French Revolution and just carry them over, into his administration. So this is an example of that he's going to make sure that instead of getting a job because of who you know, maybe your family connections or how much money you might pay, that you actually get the job based on your skill. On little d, he fired corrupt officials that may have been involved in, government positions. And we know under Napoleon, churches will be reopened, and that makes the peasants very happy, as well as the Pope. In fact, there's a specific agreement that Napoleon will make with the Pope. It's called the Concordat of 1801. And this is an agreement with the church and Napoleon that will bring religious order to France. If y'all remember, the Jacobins made a mess of things religiously. As atheists, they shut down all the churches, they sold the church land, so the church was very weak when Napoleon took over France. But this concordat will help bring religious order back to France. And so these are the details of the concordat that you need to know. So under your little e on your typed outline where there are numbers, this is the information you're filling in. First, Napoleon realized Catholicism was the religion of most of the people. So he's basically telling everybody, look, we are going to reestablish the Catholic Church. Now, the thing about Napoleon is he actually wasn't Catholic, but he recognizes that's what most people want in France. He actually is a deist. Remember, he believes in deism. Remember, this is the religion of the philosophes during the Enlightenment. So he actually believed atheists should be shot. Because remember, deists do believe in God, but they believe that God created everything and then became an observer and has no involvement. On your number 2 under little e, Napoleon gave religious freedom to Protestants and Jews. So he's not going to force everybody to be Catholic. He does allow groups like the Protestants and Jews to practice their beliefs. Peasants are allowed to keep their land. So under this concordat, Napoleon's making it very clear that the land that was taken from the church during the French Revolution will not be given back to the church. Okay, so what's done is done. They're not going to backtrack. The peasants get to keep the land that they got during the revolution. Also in this agreement between Napoleon and the Pope, Napoleon will allow the Pope to have a larger role in France, which means that Napoleon will work with the Pope when it comes to appointing church leaders. For example, bishops, priests, things like that. So Napoleon may, send a list of nominees to the Pope, and then the Pope can look over that list and say, this is who I think would be best. So they are agreeing to work together, but not the Pope have complete control over religious matters. Napoleon will still have power when it comes to religious matters in France. So we are now finished with section 2 of our chapter on Napoleon, and I'm going to go ahead and end this video. The next time we look at information on Napoleon, it will cover Roman numeral 3, and it's all about his legal system.